Welcome back, everybody. We are waiting for pet ByuN. The Korean stream needed 2 minutes, and that worked out pretty well for us. So we are ready to go.
Yeah, everyone in the lobby ready to start this series. By the way, so for those who don't know, we've been talking about this intermittently, and I guess we've got to advertise this ourselves, but coming up in the very near future, we have a Mod Appreciation Day tournament set up. And ByuN was one of the players we asked to play, and he said yes, just like half an hour ago, or whenever the Olimoleague started. So right now, the tentative folks we have on board for this sort of show match style group thing are ByuN, Neeb, and Scarlet, which I think is fucking fantastic. Waiting to hear back from our fourth, but just a little bit of a spoiler for those tuning in, because that should be something really awesome coming up in the very near future. In fact, we have it scheduled for the 14th, so this Friday.
Excuse me, kitten. Yeah, that should be a lot of fun. With such a stacked group, we should really just invite someone like in Diamond. Okay.
Right? Yeah, fuck it.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Oh. Okay.
We also have our random versus random qualifier tomorrow. I hesitate to say tomorrow because today still feels like Monday to me on account of the fact that it starts so early in the morning. But Wednesday, the 12th, we have a random versus random qualifier, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. We were just waiting on the host to be exchanged over. We really are ready to go. Honest.
I had to look over. I'm like, wait, that's not me, right? I didn't know.
No, you didn't mess up. It automatically transfers to a random person once Olivia leaves.
Speaking of random, am I right?
Hey-o.
Perfect.
There we go. First map is going to be on Frost. That's the default first map of round 2. As the chat has noticed, Hero has already just blown past his opponents, but that makes sense as he did have 2 unknowns, and he is pretty good. And the winner of this will go on to face Hero. And
that's going to be kind of interesting because ByuN versus Hero, like, presuming that it's ByuN for a moment because I have a huge ByuN bias, I think it would be a fucking phenomenal match, pardon my French there, because I think it's just going to be like some of the best versus the best type thing.
My cat has definitely learned that the key to my attention is sitting in front of my monitor. He didn't used to always do it, but now he always does it.
It's your fault, dude. Creature of habit. Developed it because you let him develop it. Something like that.
He's so cute. Okay. And then top left on Frost, he is the Red Terran, ByuN.
You know the joke you got about the horses eating hay?
Yes.
That's the voice you go for when you talk about your cat sometimes, I swear. Bottom right side, we got the blue Zerg. It's going to be Pet.
It's like it's my joke, like I made it.
Well, it's like... Yeah, well, I guess I don't have any clue. I was going to say my Reaper joke, but I literally made that on the spot, so never mind.
Yeah, excuse you. Well, at least he's sitting down now, so I'm only missing the mini-map. I'll just watch the game through my OBS program on my other monitor. I gotcha. Gotcha, Paulo. You thought you were so clever.
It's actually really weird. I've tried to do that a couple times just cause, like no real reason for it. And it feels really weird doing that. Even though there's no delay, no difference. It's just like, it's so unsettling to do.
Huh, really? I mean, I haven't done it for the entirety of a game. I'm gonna try it now. No, actually, I don't want to. My neck feels weird turning that way. That can't be healthy for you. You're supposed to have a level eye with the top of your monitor and sit straight and make sure that your elbows are in a 90-degree position. No one does that.
Who writes this? Nobody. I've heard of that for like wheels, hands on the wheel at 10 and 2, but like this idea of how to properly sit at the computer.
So 10 and 2 can actually be natural. I don't think I learned that. I think that was my natural way of doing things. So I don't mind that, right? It used to be something completely different, though, and they had to get changed. Anyway. But yeah, like, I think they put it as a rule, expecting you to slack off in almost every single department, but at least you're not flipping, oh my god, what was his name? We used to cast him all the time. Cheesy Protoss that would go for the Void Ray snipe.
Arthur?
Thank you, Arthur. Arthur had terrible posture. That kid is doomed, okay? I don't know if you've ever seen him in the booth, but he is literally, like, shoulders up to his ears, like, hunched all the way over. Like, I love Arthur, but I think his back is doomed, man. He did not get taught very well in the Slayer's house, which is so weird, because I think they were one of the ones that were really, like, insistent that you had, like, good health as well as good play, but oh well.
And I say, hey, what a
Oh.
wonderful time of day.
Snap. That's okay though. ByuN is one of the the best Terrans in the world, yet one thing about him is that he commonly loses the first Reaper for no good
Like,
reason.
first Reaper, for SDV, like, for whatever reason, his scouting always gets totally screwed. There's more than enough Marines to deal with these slow lings, though, so a little bit of bait up at the top of the ramp. The command center, of course, finishes up, and no worse for wear for it. Just, I will say, losing that Reaper scout, losing any ability to scout was bad. I mean, ByuN, I think, knows that it's bottom right from process of elimination of what he saw, but not actually getting there to see, dub evolution chambers versus fast layer versus fast infestation pit. Like, he's gonna have none of that information at all.
Yeah. He's really assuming that he knows how Korean Zergs play, and he's not wrong, unfortunately, for Pet. Like, he doesn't actually have the scout. If he's guessing it's going to be Mutaling... Oh, no kidding. Don't press the keyboard. If it's Mutaling Bling with double upgraded melee, then that's fine. That's what most Korean Zergs are doing. If you're facing Bly, then yeah, he could have gone for a 2-base Lair and 2-base Mutas, and that would be a complete surprise. He could have gone for a Nidus Worm, and that would have been a complete surprise. But ByuN doesn't really have to scout, it feels, versus Korean Zergs. He just knows.
Zombie, I just had a wonderful idea on something.
What's it?
So, we're doing that show match on Friday and all that stuff with ByuN and others?
Yes, that's true.
What if instead of setting ahead of time who's playing against who, we had a free-for-all to determine seeding for that group?
I mean, if they're up for it. That would be really silly. Well, okay, so, like, is it, like...
Like, first one out would be 4th seed.
And then...
Second one out would be 3rd seed, and so forth.
Okay. So it'd be the person who wins versus the person who lost first.
Because the thing is, you wouldn't have to have last man standing type thing necessarily, at the very least. You just have to get the first 2 picked out, because then it determines the other match, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, everyone likes free-for-all occasionally, like all the DreamHack downtime and whatnot.
Right, and there's never a good time for it, but this would be like, one of those times we could totally... Okay, I'm gonna work more on this later, guys.
The only bad thing about it is that sometimes it can't last forever. Someone just stays in the game, or 2 people stay in the game. But anyway, ByuN does have his attack commencing, a very, very common attack, a very common ByuN attack too. Good focus fire from Pet on his queens on that medevac, but unfortunately not really able to take down so many Marines, the lings on the ground, so his lings just got slaughtered. I mean, ByuN probably could have continued pushing, but he's anticipating more lings on the way, and he wouldn't be wrong, he's putting more lings on the way. Just that maybe you get a snipe to queen. But playing it's not exactly safe. Playing it though pretty, not exactly all-inning with his first push, right? He has a 3rd base on the way. He has upgrades on the way, although they are drastically behind that of Pet rather. Tries to snipe that's queen, but the lings are ready. Just speaking all over the place. Wouldn't mind unfortunately to do very much, and he does have to pick up and leave. Good thing the queens didn't get on top of that one medevac, she's pretty low. I'd say that was effective enough for ByuN. He killed a lot of lings to do that. But it wasn't exactly what he wanted. He didn't get any of the queens. He didn't clear up any of the creep spread. And it is Frost cross spawn, so being able to defend that so easily and then, not having drops every which way should give Pet, this really, nice 1 to 2 minutes where he does just, creep spread the hell out of the map, left, right, and center, where he can get to his Banelings. Maybe even Baneling speed? He has enough minerals and gas for it. ByuN is, making sure that the creep doesn't get too far out. He doesn't want it past the middle of the map. Sends a squad out here to do so. Ling counters are set up everywhere. But Marines are trying to scout it. Nicely done by ByuN. Oh, look at the other creep tumor! Oh well. Infestation pit already on the way. Wow, that is pretty quick.
I mean, it's hard enough to play against ByuN normally. I guess you're going to want to get those ultras out quick as you can, but as we've seen in the past, it doesn't seem to be ultras that are the answer to stopping ByuN. It is really good infester / combination of ravagers, but the fact of the matter is this infestation pit, yes, it could be for ravager or infestors, yes, it could be for faster hive, but the fact that Pet's playing heavy on banelings, heavy on lings, insists that it's not going to be any amount of ravagers behind this.
Yeah. We have an overlord drop on the way with the lings. They were scouted by a marine, but ByuN AS just figures he'll keep tabs on his natural, when really he has to keep tabs on his main base. It's not that many lings, and reinforcements will probably take care of it, but any distraction from this main attack, especially since ByuN is still on creep, is always really scary for the Terran. Pet not gonna go for it though, he doesn't have speed quite yet on his banelings. There we go now. Unfortunately, his creep is getting cleaned up here, and he's gonna want to go soon before all of it is cleaned up. He does not want to get off creep though, he's forced to. Marines back off, they're gonna start splitting.
The splits aren't too bad either. Focuses down the banelings. That focus fire to ByuN was so sick. You know, when I asked ByuN about the show match, they said, you know, are you worried about giving away too much for BlizzCon? Like, you'll be careful about accepting this. And he's like, no, I don't care, I'm good. And I think he means he's just good at StarCraft.
Yeah, no. I think that's what it means too. He didn't care when he was playing in the in GSL either. He was playing in online cups for weeks before that.
He streamed ladder yesterday for like 9 hours too, something like that. I mean, this is crazy.
He's been streaming so much.
That's the thing. You can't really, like, you can look at ByuN's builds all you want, but at the end of the day, his control over his Marines, his setter step, his focus fire, these aren't things you can come pre-prepared for.
They're not things that watching him you're gonna be able to fix, you know? Like, you're not hitting him. People have tried, actually. They've tried finding, like, okay, he does this 2-base attack, right? The 2-1-1. Everyone knows that, and you should be able to counter it. People have tried to send in, like, 20 lings, you know, hoping to catch his supply depot down. And for a time, like 4 or 5 months ago, that was actually working effectively. Not anymore. Like, ByuN really has he's chosen this build to make the perfect build for him. He knows every single trick that the Zerg could do to try and stop him from winning with it. And he just, you know, focuses on control after that. So he's aware of the Baneling roll-ins over here. He's aware of the Overlord drops that happened over here, which I guess already happened, already cleaned up. Didn't get much done. But is he gonna get swamped here? I don't think so, but a lot of SCs are gonna go down. Unfortunately, he had to pick up, and in doing so, it's really difficult to unload. All the Banelings are almost gone, but that last one gets a pretty damn good hit. And more lings are still on the way. He's got a Liberator over here and Liberator over there.
Yeah, the problem is, and by the way, Liberator in the bottom doesn't necessarily go down too easily. The Queen gets picked off. Look at those supply counts. Look at the types of supply counts there too. You know, this is something where ByuN, he should be down a considerable army value. He's only missing a couple workers. And the fact that his army value wasn't hindered so much means he'll be able to continue pushing, maybe put some pressure on before those ultras are out. But it is worth noting his production doesn't really set himself up well for Hive. You want to be producing 3 to 4 Marauders right now, not 11 Marines. You want to be pumping crazy Widowmines and Liberators. Like, there's just nothing he has right now that is going to do well with the Ultras that are on deck.
Yeah. There's certainly one thing, like, okay, his army supply didn't take that much of a hit, as Pets is not that much better, but his SCVs did. And even rebuilding, you know, 10 SCVs can really affect your second starports or your 4th command center, things that you really need if it's going to go into a macro game versus Ultras. ByuN is going to try and get some economic damage done, further economic damage done with the double drops here, but Banelings are rolling in, the Queens are available. He wants to snipe at least one of them. Oh, he just snipes the Banelings instead. Or that. That was
Gobble,
pretty cool.
gobble, 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 gobble.
That was pretty cool, but you can't really snipe the Ultras in the same way. But he's going to try and dive in with these units. The Queens have got to get over here to stop the Medevacs from just picking this up before he kills the base. You think he's going to get it? Actually, it's going to be tricky. He's going to lose a good portion of his Marines, yeah, if he was to dedicate on that, and the Queens come over with a Transfuse. But he just drops back to the left side. This is buying him a lot of time. He did not have a 4th command center, but he's built his SCVs back up to above 50. And he does have the second starport on the way. His +3 attacks about to finish up, and Pet has not started his own upgrades.
Ultras do push off the natural base as well as the attack to the south. And, I mean, for ByuN's sake, what's interesting is, like, yeah, you're Terran. You can start lifting those command centers around, and that's what you ideally start thinking about at this point. You start spending all this money on Marauders and Liberators and another starport even. But ByuN doesn't necessarily have the capability to defend those bases. So his attack, his aggression right now, yeah, it's keeping Pet at home. Well, as soon as ByuN gives him room to breathe, as we can see, there's already lings heading up north. Pet's going to start counterattacking. If ByuN had that 4th base down, it would be forced to lift almost immediately.
Yeah. I mean, if you're playing against a Roach-style player, then you don't have to worry so much about counterattacks. Sometimes a couple of Roaches will make their way over, but against someone who has upgraded lings, they should always be running around on a map like Frost, trying to deny the bases. This is actually going to be an attempted, you know, command center on location. ByuN could just put it up here, and I think that wouldn't be so much lost time, but oh well. Because I think that now that he knows you're going to try and build it on location, Pet's just going to keep on hitting that point, not let you get it down.
It should be, at least.
Oh, nice catch on the transfer of drones right there. He really wants to get that hatchery, and this time it looks like he's going to be able to get it. The queens aren't here to transfuse. No ultras chomp down those marines. Nicely done, and he can pick up and leave. And then this is going to be the next target for him. The command center, like I was talking about, just build it on the high ground. ByuN, just saying. Just build it.
Feels bad, man.
He knows you're trying to expand now. Okay, he kind of built on the high ground. That works.
It's like it's halfway. Is it?
Yeah, like it's like a high ground. I was gonna say that he still doesn't have much of an answer to the Ultralisk, but if the Ultras decide to push in right here, then he does. Okay, the Widow Mines and the Liberators combined will probably take care of things, but there's a bunch of other directions that the Ultras could go through, and he'd have to rely on his bio to actually take care of. And now you have a Spire done, so Corruptor's on the way.
He is getting to this point though where we've long since counted out Marauders, but if you've seriously got 20-something Marauders, you can kite Ultralisk down. The question becomes more so like, are there a lot of lanes with it? And the way Pet's playing, there really isn't a lot of support for the Ultras. Another drop up here, the Ultras go all the way down to the south. That drop picks up and goes to the main Marines shooting well at that Spine Crawler. It might just get a cancel on this base. There are 3 Marines after all.
Yeah, the main base, by the way, I guess he's trying to chase a couple of Corruptors as they did take out the medevac, but gets the base. No cancel, and we'll be able to fly with at least one of the medevacs. These Marines are going to go for the leftover drones in the main. If it's not responded to, they could technically get the queens, too. I don't think they're going to get any tech structures, though. But the main push comes over here. That is a lot of Liberators, and the Widow Mines can help cover them against the Corruptors now. So I think this base is forfeit for Pet.
ByuN is doing so much with an army that was so ill-prepared for Hive Tech at the time it arrived. When the Ultras finished, when they popped out with Kite Displating for the very first time, ByuN was producing 11 Marines and 2 Widow Mines. I want you guys to keep that in mind for a second. This is what makes him such a good player. Because it's with all those quote-unquote useless units being split up to distract his opponent, he bought himself the time he needed to get this army that he wants. He's got Ghosts on deck. God knows if you guys have not seen ByuN with Ghosts, he's one of the best Ghost handlers in the game right now, without a doubt in my mind. Him, maybe the beastie after him, because they don't use his freaking Ghosts anymore.
He was Ghost King at one point, so yes, he has some pretty good control on the Ghosts. He doesn't find them as fun anymore. I remember they did the interview because they've changed, but he's still very good with them.
Really got to bring home the fact that the Liberators and the Widow Mines, while they look scary, it's the Marauders that is true beef of this army. And the only reason the Marauders are going to work so well is because there isn't, 40 lings behind these Ultras. Pet's supply cap, not max necessarily, 142 supply. And there's nothing to flood underneath any of this. There's nothing to distract the Marauders and waste their shots. Everybody's just going to be able to focus fire on those Ultralisks.
Yeah.
But honestly, they're not that big of a problem. And even so, ByuN responds to it pretty quickly.
He does, yes. Ultra's coming in over to the left side here, killing out the Sim City, but right into the heart of, but right into a couple of Ghosts. Liberators finally getting taken care of by the Corruptors. A couple of transfuses available as well, but there goes the Widow Mines and the Banelings and Ultras on the ground. And he might just be able to focus fire the Ultras.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. Look at the transfuses going into it. He gets a little bit too close, but even then, he's still killing the Ultras.
I was going to say, if the Ultras walk into Liberators even once or twice and take a chunk of their health out, then the Marauders will definitely be able to snipe them down, but he actually chased into them. These Ultras might just be forfeit. They actually will get sniped. There's enough Marauders. There you go.
It's so weird for me to look at this, too, because we're so used to the Ultras just being like, what,
he doesn't want to stim.
Oh,
Widow Mine, please.
That would have actually killed him.
Gosh.
I was just going to say, though, it's really important to note, like, we see so many unfair, quote-unquote, games where just Ultras look so broken, the game becomes unfair and silly because of them, but not against ByuN. He's like one of the only Terrans in the world that can handle this sort of pressure.
Oh, does he have any more snipes with the Ultras or the Corruptors? Yeah, he gets on the Ultra. So all the medevacs are down, and the Marines were trying to take out a couple of the Corruptors. They did manage to get a couple. That Corruptor count has definitely gone down. At least 5 have been killed, in fact, and 10 queens. So all of his transfuses. ByuN is winning this game at this point. He's not on like a super great economy. They're both, in fact, pretty even on that income, but his army is now 40 supply up. He has answers for everything with the Ghosts, unless he loses them here. Run, buddy! His reinforcements are definitely steady. He's gonna be able to save the Ghost, I think. Ghost thanks to that speed boost. Thank God for David Kim. Oh, one duo's down, but so do the Ultras. And Corruptors, okay, you may be able to take down the Liberators, but you can't win the game. I'm sorry. scan going? Ah. See how his mining looks. ByuN now has a 5th base, by the way, done. And, of course, lifting over his main, natural, maybe even 3rd. Everything's mined out except for that planetary. Oh, that fuel no graphs. Okay.
Skype's doing that thing. I'm just gonna let you,
Oh, okay. Well, Ghosts are gonna get their last couple of snipes off. They don't have much energy left over, but I think the bio might just be big enough to take out the Corruptors, take out the Ultras. The Ghosts actually still live, even though they're not that useful. And they will be able to take out the Corruptors along with the Marines. GG. ByuN takes game number 1.
yeah, no, I'll host the call. I'll check on you.
Hello.
Hello. Just a quick explanation for those who don't follow around too closely. We've had a lot of issues with Skype. Terrible program that it is free and useful, and unfortunately, better alternatives don't work for us. We know we've had everything suggested our way, guys. Discord, Zoom, etc. But once in a while, usually it's for the person not streaming for whatever reason. The other person just becomes inaudible, and that's unfortunately what started happening for me at the end of that game.
It's odd. Skype is odd.
All right, so getting into the next match, I do want to point out that the winner of this goes on against Hero. Apparently, Railing and Stats is being held as a potential alternative game. Lots of really like this round of 8 is going to be so sick. You got to consider like possibly on the top side Innovation versus Alive, possibly ByuN versus Hero, Railing, Stats. Railing, who by the way beat ByuN last week, if I recall. Is that the way that went?
Did Railing beat him? Someone beat him. So yes.
I think it was Railing, yeah. Because that was when everything started crapping out of me. I had to drop, but and then even on the bottom side, you got Natural versus Chan Kim. There's 2 like amateur heroes of the Olimoleague, with Leenock potentially there. Like, there's so many cool matches lined up for that round of 8.
Yeah. So the issue with it just advancing forward, whoever wins this against Hero, is that the Korean stream wants to follow that too, and they're having audio problems. So that's why another match is being held. But depending on how long the Korean stream takes, you could still catch Hero versus the winner of this.
Well, I certainly hope we're going to be able to. Regardless, game going to be kicking off from map number 2 on Apotheosis.
Oh, you put your camera up. Okay, I'll get that one.
Yeah, sorry, I kind of just forgot to. I don't normally have to do that, man. It's like not a habit that I have for.
I'm not blaming you. Okay, Apotheosis, this was Pet's map choice. Makes sense for the Zerg player. And speaking of the Zerg player, in the bottom right, as the blue Zerg down 1, he is Pet.
And his opponent spawning opposite of him is going to be the red Terran. Ladies and gentlemen, it's ByuN.
ByuN.
And, I need to grab a bottle of water. 1 sec. I didn't realize I didn't do that.
Okay. Well, so, ByuN, I mean, this guy is just, there's a reason that everyone doesn't like facing him. You think that you get an edge, you think that you're doing well because, hey, his 2 base drop, or his 2 base, 2 medevac drop didn't kill you, so, alright, you've already done better than some other games we've seen from Pro Zergs against ByuN. You even push off his 2nd attack. His 3rd attack, you actually get to Ultras. You get to Ultras, and then you're already on your way to Aspire, so you're not going to get caught with only Ultras. I mean, Pet was doing everything right. He was playing it safe enough, clearly, because that game was very long. It's not like he died transitioning to anything. It just was over, you know, periods of fights and drops. They started losing, of course. But, you know, he got to the Ultras safely enough, and then he was like, I need Aspire, because Liberator's going to be out by now. Which maybe he could have forced the issue without the Spire, because he did have that moment of time where he was pushing ByuN back, but that's still questionable. You over-dedicate with Ultras, then you're going to lose the majority of your army, and it's going to be bad.
So talking a little bit on something style-wise here, you look at people like Nurchio and Snoot and others who have actually taken games off ByuN, and a lot of it has to do with that Ravager being kind of the Corsair Gear being a catch-all for both air, ground, liberators, or bio. And unfortunately, the way Pet played, well, good, don't get me wrong, it did force him to split. You know, you're focusing heavily on the ground with the Ultras, or you're focusing heavily on the air with the Corruptors. but neither really able to perform both roles. And that, for me, I think is what makes it so interesting, and why perhaps it's the reason those guys are actually able to beat ByuN, because ByuN is just so good at forcing you to separate, not just through multiple drops, but through your tech, your unit choices, what you're building.
Thank you to Liquidity
C.
Thank you, Liquidity C, for the 27-month resub. Liquid Itsis. I like better. Itis. Anyways, I really would like to see Pet go for Muta Ling Bling this game. I mentioned it last game. They ended up just going for Ling, Banling, and Fester, which has been kind of, in the last couple of months, adapted for the Korean players, I would say. Because they were going for Muta Ling Bling, and then they're like, hey, maybe the Europeans got something right. Try to go back into Infestor usage even, but also, of course, the Quick Hive. But I still think that Muta Ling Bling can be ByuN's weak point. As you saw in the last game, he actually got overwhelmed by Ling Banling at one point. If you're just entirely dedicating to layer-based tech when doing that, nice scout with that Reaper, then you can actually overwhelm him. And he has died to that in the past. But, I don't know, that's Pet's plan. First, he makes a handful of Lings to try and catch ByuN off guard, but the Reaper scout was very important. He did go for Hellions this game because he's going for a Hellbat attack, and I'm not sure that Pet realized that until just now. Yeah, I don't think so. So, seeing the Hellions, seeing more than 2 Hellions, I think he'll realize that he'll need either a Baneling Nest or a Roach Warren, or just really good position with his Queens. It's kind of the scary way to play, though. This is clever. I mean, it's dangerous to have 20 Lings on the other side of the map trying to counterattack when maybe you really do need them at home, but he might just be able to get a lot of SCVs for it. A lot being like 6, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a tentative asterisk.
He's not gonna go for it. He saw the Hellions, I guess, and goes back.
Well, speaking of Hellions, ByuN's across the map, looking to come in from behind. Gonna find nothing of the natural. If only he'd just gone straight to the gold, could have gotten quite a few kills. But runs to the main, and you know what? All those queens are out of position, and there's a big difference in creep. With Hellbats now transforming, Pet's own reinforcements are so far away.
I thought he was gonna dive with the Hellions, to be honest, and I think I would have liked that
I thought so
maybe
too.
Better.
Well, maybe not. Maybe he gets into the mineral lines at a pretty nice spot to clean up these Lings, and these Lings are having a hard enough time dealing with the Hellbats, but looks like at the end of the day, ByuN will get cleaned up. Not bad trades for him still, though. 600 minerals lost versus 800, and 4 more Hellions running into that gold base.
Well, there's a Spine Crawler and a Queen, though, so this isn't really getting a lot done. I still don't know if maybe the Hellions would have been a better plan. I think they might have been. It's so hard to tell because if they get on a creep and like 2 Lings come in, like their shots never line up, they're quite annoying to deal with sometimes. But the Hellbats didn't seem to do very much more either. I don't know. At least this wasn't like super all-in to bring SCVs. He very quickly was transitioning out of it anyways, so he has production on the way, although definitely not finished yet. And his SCV count didn't take a hit. In fact, Pet's drone count did take a hit just in having to respond to it, but now he's building 11 more, and I mean, he has a gold base, so I don't even think that 40 is a bad number for him. He's gonna go up to 50 now. And he's chosen to go for faster Spire, so I'm glad to see Mutas. I assume that they're gonna be Mutas, are on the way. And they're going to be on the way in such a time that ByuN really might not expect it. Again, he's probably used to facing Ling, Banling, Muta, whereas maybe European Terrans aren't. But to have the Zerg player go for the middle-of-the-road Mutas, like not 2-base Muta, but also not after upgrades, he might not be trying to, you know, scan and prepare for that. And he'll probably lose his Hellions, right? And then it'll give him time to build missile turrets. It's also a possibility that Pet just sends them right across the map to try and surprise him.
Well, still trying to bully in here with those Hellbats. Really unsuccessful so far. They look so awkward running away. No, boys, come back.
Run.
I mean, honestly, keeping these alive and just pairing it up with Bio later might not be a bad alternative, because ByuN right now really isn't getting a lot done. So bring those home, maybe repair them up, maybe heal them up with the Medivacs, whatever the choice may be. He's going to have to deal with these Mutas, and that's going to really suck. Unfortunately, none of the Hellbats and none of the investment made into this is going to help with that. So it's like, what, 5 Marines, 5 more on deck? Like, he can certainly eventually deal with this, but it's a question, how much damage does he take before then?
Yeah. Pet not bothering to clean up the Hellions did not give ByuN enough time to go for a missile turret, so he really does only have the Marines to fall back on. There's really not that many. He's probably going to have to get a Liberator to really secure the defense against the Mutas, and this Muta timing has certainly worked out well for Pet. It hasn't snowballed to a win or anything like that, but he has definitely taken back control over the map with these.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
He's not even going to be able to take his third base. It's questionable. Every single stim without Medivacs is actually really good for the Mutas, and their count is still growing. Now up to 12, although, these aren't Mutas. This has got to be a mistake.
Transfuse the Mutas.
I mean, he should, since they're out on the front lines anyway, but this is what I was trying to talk about. The Marines, they stim once, they get low health. The Glaive Worm suddenly is a lot more effective. He probably shouldn't take them on while they're still stimmed. So this is actually a little bit questionable, but I think he was hoping that the missile turret hadn't finished and was going to take on the SCVs after, but, I don't know. Now he's down to, well, I guess he's still at 11. That wasn't that big of a deal. And 5 more on the way. It's Apotheosis too, so, like, these little, like, maybe mistakes of over-dedicating with the Mutas should not immediately reflect into, like, a counter from ByuN. He'll have his upgrades, he'll have creep spread. The Queens are going back home to do more creep spread.
The long road home. Widowmine's gonna burrow because they can't really get them in position for anything. He's gonna just have to bleed out these reactors. I mean, it's really unfortunate for ByuN if that's gonna be the case. Kind of annoying to rebuild, but
oh jeez.
Widowmine's so close.
Oh
I
my
think
goodness.
Pet saw them. Like
I think
he
so,
should
yeah.
know. Yeah, he should know not to over-dedicate that direction.
He would have seen them burrow, plus he would have seen them like targeting, because he was so precise with his muta control. So combat shields isn't done, and that is going to affect the muta dynamic of the main engagement. Oh, kind of freebie muta right there, where again the Glaive Worm will suddenly be very, very effective. Good eyes from ByuN not to lose all of his SCVs right there. I really thought that was going to get a good hit. Regardless of his economy right now, his army just really doesn't seem like it can do very much. It's an even army supply, but he's still got to clean up a lot of creep. His combat shields isn't done quite yet. He has taken a lead in upgrades, because Pet, chose a build that is pretty unorthodox nowadays, I would say, which is getting the later upgrades. Usually Zergs are the ones winning in those for most of their builds, but this time not so much. And that could be some time where ByuN really gets a win here. He waits until he has 2-2, so halfway done. He gets like a, bigger army, calmly dealing with these mutas. And maybe then he can actually push on to creep with enough Hellbats, enough Marauders, and of course, a lot of Marines. But Pet's muta count has gone up to 15. I think it even got to like 18 at one point before he lost a couple. And this is the scary, like, okay, I'm gonna need Liberators back at home to make sure this doesn't just end up killing my production while I move across the map. So with this is a pretty perfect army unit composition here. Widowmines, Liberators, and Marines. Mutas cannot take all of that on. And they, oh, I thought that was a drop. Never mind. One Marine.
One Marine dropping the damage.
Well, I thought I think that he thought it was a medevac drop too. So the Mutas were like, oh shit, I missed something. No, I didn't.
That's kind of a nice thing for ByuN. Even then, just a small moment of look over here while I attack over there, look down the middle of the left and the right side of the map. I mean, these are two very streamlined attacks, and the right side has a considerable amount more anti-air for Widowmines, a lot of Liberators, but man, he's going to have to deal with these Banelings. There's so much emphasis has been on the Mutas, let's hope he hasn't forgotten that other units exist.
42 Banelings to 53 Marines. Of course, Hellbats and Marauders can soak up a lot of those Banelings too, and just splitting off of creep should be able to kill a few of them before they connect, but that is a pretty good army for Pet right there.
What am I trying to draw a line in the sand? We'll see if it's enough. Liberators thinking anti-air mode, kill the Mutas with that splash damage, though devastation in the skies.
Jesus.
And let's not forget, left side of the map, ByuN's pushing in, so this fight might not have gone well for ByuN in terms of the ground army, but he dominates the skies.
Terran Splash, am I right? That went really well for ByuN. That went so much better for ByuN.
It was almost silly to see it. In fact, like, you have to know Liberators, like, don't only shoot down, they can sometimes shoot up.
Yeah. I was also, like, so surprised the Widowmines ended up getting shots off. Like, I thought they were going to die immediately being on the front lines like that.
Yeah, the Widowmine hits were kind of, like, so-so for me. I don't know, I thought they were too great. It wasn't a lot of emphasis on the Liberators. Regardless of that point, the follow-up for ByuN has to start dancing around a lot. He's got a big army supply for the time being, and is, once again, caught in that weird position where he's producing a lot of Marines, a couple of Widowmines, but nothing really concrete to deal with the Ultras.
That might be true, but the Ultras won't have Katniss plating, so if he does push forward right now onto... Well, he actually doesn't have to push on the creep, just go in the same direction. Whoopsie! That's a lot of supply to lose to Corruptors. Is he gonna lose the 1 medevac? Nope, not quite. Then
Hellbat's gonna help clean up some of these as well. Lots of Marines now stimming on forward to the front lines. Should be able to take out these Corruptors. If he does, pop, one two goes down.
He might still have enough to take care of the Banelings and the Ultras. Widowmine's gonna try and get a hit, doesn't get a hit. It's nothing but Marines left over, but no chitinous plating. The Ultras are still melting to just Marines. Really shouldn't happen. Corruptors will follow suit, of course. This base is gonna go down. He still would be on 4, with this one about halfway done, but...
This is really good damage out of ByuN, but it is still that question mark, like, will this be enough? Those Ultras are hatching soon. Kind of splitting will be well timed out for them. I think it's looking good. I think it's absolutely looking good.
He's gonna have +3 almost done. He has a 4th base as a planetary turning into it now.
We're not using the BaseTradeTV graph now. I can't go over graphs and income, but I just want to point out it's 3,000 income to the 1,000 of pet. So
Yep.
ByuN can certainly afford losses here.
Bane drop is not being cleaned up as the Ultra count is just, it's only at 2. He could literally send 1 Ultra to each direction. But he's gonna lose 1. This one will be able to send the drop packing, but he's already taken so much damage. So much of this game turned on its head because of that one main fight with the mutas over here. He was at an even supply, then he dipped down to 30-40 supply below and gave ByuN back so much control into this game. It's pet entirely on the defensive now. ByuN is simply overpowered.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna... God knows Terran's not the best race because we watch it flail and flop so hard in the other regions, but something about ByuN just synergizes so well with this race. Widowmine's popping off, go on top of the Ultra, so he focus fires down the Baneling with those Marines. Not too hard to do awful creep for somebody like ByuN, of course.
That one Ultra is like, I know they're gonna snipe me, man. I gotta run. Runs back to his second Ultra buddy, but he really needs more Ling and Banelings to support him.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Marines just don't have the damage to deal with the Ultras the same way Marauders do, but he still beats it back with brute force.
Yeah. The Widowmines, of course, helped out as well. He personally danced around them so the Ultras would take the hits. That was pretty cool. Last of the Banelings get rolled in, and this is a very small army, but it's enough to deal with pets. GG.
ByuN is so disgustingly good to watch. I feel like the only time ByuN loses is like when he chooses to. He's like, I can't make myself look too good. Like,
yeah, he has to look human sometimes.
Yeah.
That's gonna advance him forward to face hero.
I will say, by the way, ByuN significantly less robot-y than his Terran counterpart Innovation. I loved all those pictures ByuN was tweeting, like, of him basically fanboying over Innovation together. Like, ByuN has personality, and that's what I really love. That goes beyond the StarCraft element, right? Like, he's a good player, we know this, but then he's also funny as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He's got personality. He also just simply, like, really likes the game. There is no... So sometimes he'll, like, balance one, like anyone will, you know, about Protoss and whatnot, but he's been playing this game for 7 years now at this point, and every single time you ask him, like, if he enjoys it, he says yes. So that's actually kind of unique. Most people have some points where they're just like, I don't want to play.
Yeah.
We are going to go into Ryung versus Stats, I do believe. As again, the Korean stream is having trouble with their audio. If not, we go into Hero versus ByuN, in my opinion. So, anticipate one of those coming through.
I'm cool with Hero versus ByuN.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're gonna be able to start. So, we'll come back to you when we're in the lobby. Should just be 2 minutes. See you guys soon.